Real excited to dive into our next modular, the Grand Emporium from 2010. And look at this thing. It is 15 years old, which is hard to believe, but it has aged very gracefully. Still, I think one of the best modulars that Lego has ever produced. And if you've been following along our series, this is our 16th in our series looking at all the Lego modulars. There are 20 of them. We started with the most recent one, the Tudor Corner. And we have converted each one of them so far to a MILS plate. And also, depending on each set, we've done some design upgrades here and there. Okay. With this set, there's really not that much, I think, to upgrade. It is already fantastic. But I want to show you today, one of the reasons I really love MILS is, we've talked about the structural integrity. It makes it easier to move around, but also you can build in some special functions like this. Now, let's go take a look at converting this to MILS and how I built in some functions into the foundation of this building so that we can rotate that front door. So here's what we've done. We've taken the standard MILS plate for a corner with crosswalk, which we've shown you guys before, but we've built into the inside of the MILS plate several gears. You can see here, here, and there. And I have this crank at the front. If I turn that, you can see everything else is rotating. Now we're going to build upon that to be able to have that circulating door right here. Now, before we go any further, let's see how we built the inside of this. Now, this is that standard MILS plate. Pretty simple underneath, which we've shown you before. Really nothing inside of here underneath these 16 by 16 plates. Got a little bit more infrastructure here in the front corner to be able to support these different pieces that we want for the corner. Okay, but overall, still, this is a pretty simple looking structure. Now, compare that to this other MILS plate where we built in the gears. Underneath here, we got all kinds of stuff we've had to add. Again, see, we have these little boxes we had to build for the gears, and then to be able to hold all of the cranks and all that going from the front, then also in the back, which we're going to show you that more in a little bit. So pretty complicated under here, not only to get the Technic pieces to work and to fit right, but also we could not use a lot of 16 by 16 plates here because of, the holes we had to leave to make room for these. So a lot of smaller plates, a lot more pieces we had to kind of work in here to be able to do that. Again, kind of a jumbled mess under here, but look at it from the top and it looks really about the same as what the original did. Now we can start transferring the tiles and other pieces that are on the old base plate over onto our new MILS plate. And this is just a straight transfer because I really liked the blue and white pattern that they put on the corner here. I think that's aged pretty well. I don't see any need to improve upon it. So here's how we're going to connect the door to these gears we've built into the foundation here. Normally, this piece goes here and the door with this piece on the bottom sits here and spins. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we're going to pop this off and show you what we're going to do. We're going to take this ball joint out. Okay, so that's out. Now we're going to replace that with this axle like this. Put it in here. Okay, and what we're going to do is put this on like this, and then what's left there, we're going to take this gear, pop it on the end of that axle, and then put this in place like it's supposed to, just like that. Okay, now the door is sitting in there. Now go back here and turn this crank, and there we go. The door is rotating on its own. Now we put the first floor back into place on the model. That securely gets the door, and you can see here again, turn the crank and that door rotates. Now we are not done yet with this ground floor. Two things. One, we're going to add a tile floor here. That's something that was not included in the original. Again, that's one of those things. I'm trying to modernize all of the modulars, and we'll make a nice tile floor. The second thing I want to show you about how these gears work that are worked into the MILS plate. Like you can see there, there's a little hole there. Now the tile floor is going to cover that up. But let me show you another thing that I kind of built in here. You might have noticed earlier. So the crank for rotating the door is right there. Okay. But if we wanted to put a road here, okay, and butt up against that, that might be a problem. So what I've done is designed this so that if I wanted to, I could take this crank out, okay, and I would also eliminate that axle that's sticking out there, okay. What I want to do then is build in a second way to rotate that door that is worked into the building. And what I've decided to do then is for the second one to, you can see under here, you just barely see it down in there. It's at the it's inside here. So what I'm going to do is I would like that other crank to be right back here. Okay, kind of inset, kind of hidden a little bit. What I need to do then is rebuild this whole corner and basically take this little wall right here and expand it so that the gear is coming out of the floor right here and up through the wall and then out to the back door. So we start this with a quick dismantling of the walls it stands. So I think rubber bands are going to be the best way to elevate this mechanism a little bit to get the control to be a little bit elevated about the height of my fingers. Now we have to build up this wall around it. What I'm going to do here is just stick this random axle in here. This is going to allow me, as I build up the wall, as you see here, be able to keep those rubber bands taut and from falling down in the mechanism. You can see here in the stop motion of the rebuild of the wall how that axle comes in handy. Now we get the mechanism completed there and then complete the rest of the wall. So then this angle you can see now I've built in a second way to make that door rotate. And this inset back here against this back door, even if there's building next to it, you're still going to be able to reach in here and be able to turn that door if you like. So now we turn our attention to the floor on the inside of the ground floor. I'm going to put a tile floor here to match other modulars, and this I dip into my stash of tiles. Here I've got some 1x1 tan tiles, and we're going to pair this pattern I've got in mind. We've got a bunch of 2x2 white tiles, and I think we can make a fun pattern with these pieces. So we start in one corner and go across the whole floor with that pattern, leaving those black spots where we're going to put some of the kiosks and other parts of the department store. Also, this was a little bit of a sparse floor plan, so I added a couple other elements, different kiosks, to make it a little busier and more fun visually. So here we are, completed new tile floor for the Grand Emporium. One other little design upgrade. The way this was designed, these floors don't really actually connect. These are all tiles that this sits on here, and it can be a little bit problematic sometimes. So I think we're just upgrading the top of the first, all the floors is a little bit, but just adding a couple of these pieces around on the edge to give just a little bit of connection between floors. So here we are with the updated Grand Emporium put on a MILS plate with a built-in function to rotate that front door. Hope you're following along on our modular series. 4 more to go to complete all 20.